doing?
So today we have a very packed agenda. So first we start with the global outlook for 2026. We see international rules-based order under very much strain. We also see transatlantic ties not being the same that they were, and still we have threats like Russia's war going on in Ukraine. We have instability in the Middle East, so there's a lot to discuss. Then we talk about Ukraine. Of course, we see the talks also in Abu Dhabi, but on the Russian side, there are only military personnel present who don't have a mandate to agree on anything, which means that they are definitely not serious about the peace. Peace, it's the opposite. They are bombing Ukrainians, trying to bomb and freeze them to surrender. And that's why we are also discussing the energy support that we can give them, because it's very hard winter and Ukrainians are really suffering. There's a humanitarian catastrophe coming there. Also positive is that we are going to blacklist Russia on the money laundering list, because they are using the means to fund this war. I think any mean to pressure Russia into real negotiations is good, and we are going forward with this. Then we are talking about Middle East. Of course, there the main topic is Iran. We are putting new sanctions on the list, and I also expect that we agree on listing the Iran Revolutionary Guard on the terrorist list. This will put them on the same footing with Al-Qaeda, Hamas, Daesh. If you act as a terrorist, you should also be treated as terrorist. It is clear what we see, the death toll in the protests that were in Iran, and the means that were taken by the regime are really severe. So that's why we are also sending a clear message that if you are suppressing people, it has a price, and you will be also sanctioned for this. And then, of course, in the Middle East, we also talk about Syria, we talk about Gaza, and what we can do there. And then, in the end, we also have a discussion about the Great Lakes, what is happening there, and what more can we do to bring stability to the region. Thank you.
What specific new sanctions are you talking about? What can we expect?
On whom? On Russia?
On Iran.
On Iran. On Iran, we have a few listings of the concrete persons who have conducted the violence against the peaceful protesters. So, and a few entities as well. But in addition, also I expect that we will list the Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organization.
Does the EU going to push new sanctions on Syria after the recently attacks on the Kurds, and is there any efforts of EU to mediate between the groups?
Yes, we are in contact with our regional partners, and of course what is going on, especially in the north part of Syria, is of big concern, especially because there are the camps in Syria, and I've been in touch also with the Iraqi minister, how they see this movement there. So we will discuss this. Right now we don't have many proposals on the table. It's more like how we can really steer this into the right direction.
On the IRGC listing, I suppose, how do you respond to the concerns that it might affect Europeans' embassies' abilities to function in Iran?
These risks have been calculated, so the diplomatic part is out of this Revolutionary Guard. I mean, also the interactions with the foreign minister are not under this. So the estimate is that still the diplomatic channels will remain open even after the listing of the Revolutionary Guard.
Question on Ukraine, please. Do you believe that the United States could give Ukraine security guarantees only in exchange of territory concessions?
My worry is that we have seen a lot of concessions also on the Ukrainian side, but that is blurring the picture because Ukraine is not the one who is doing the aggression. It's Russia who is doing this. So we should put more pressure on Russia so that we would see concessions on the Russian side. On the security guarantees, it is very important that we give tangible security guarantees. We also talk about this today. What more can we do on the European side? But it's true that also Americans have to be part. If the Ukrainians are making very hard concessions, then they are making this in order to have peace for the rest of Ukraine. And then it has to be very clear that there's peace for the rest of Ukraine, that Russia doesn't just attack again.
High Representative, the US, Ukraine and Russia are meeting Sunday again. Will the Europeans be involved or watching from the sidelines?
Well, again, if we look at these talks, then who is representing Russia is the military personnel who does not have any mandate to agree on the peace as such. So clearly, Russians are not serious about this. And for us, it is important that we really see that. We push Russia into really having negotiations. Right now they are just pretending to have them. We see them increasing their attacks on Ukraine because they can't make moves on the battlefield, so they are attacking civilians. In October, the number of civilian targets had been 93%. I think right now it's much, much more. So Russia is targeting hospitals, schools, apartment buildings, critical infrastructure, energy infrastructure, in order to bomb and freeze Ukrainians into surrender. And we really have to be very clear-eyed about this.
About the situation that you are talking about, the Russians, they are not serious, but the Americans, they are serious. They send Kushner and Witkoff. Anyway, are you worried that you will find yourself in a situation where all files on the table whenever you disagree with the Americans concerning Greenland or trade or any other files?
Well, we have, of course, still a lot of cooperation with the Americans, and we are in close contact when it comes to the Middle East, when it comes to also Ukraine in this. But it is clear that any deal to work, it has to have Europeans on board, because this war is here, and we have seen now that Americans have not supported Ukraine for almost over a year already. So Europeans are doing this so that Ukraine can defend themselves. So for us it is very important that the principles of territorial integrity and sovereignty are respected. We see, of course, that the international law is under much strain, not only in Ukraine but also by other powers, and this is what we will also discuss over breakfast with the ministers.
What do you think about the idea of President Zelensky to create some army of Europe, and the army of Ukraine will be the base of this army? What says in those?
Well, every European country has an army, and 23 countries' armies are also part of NATO structures. So I can't imagine that countries will create a separate European army. So it has to be the armies that already exist. So we need to see how that works in practice. For me, it is understandable that in military you have to have a very straight and understandable chain of command, so that whenever something happens, it's clear who gives orders to whom. If we create parallel structures, then it's just going to blur the picture, and in times of trouble, the orders might just fall between the chairs.
Prosperity plan for Ukraine, because EU is involved, at least the EU Commission, in developing this plan. But do you know something? Will the EU a part of this agreement, or it's just observer? How it will work?
Yes, the European Commission is working on the prosperity plan, and also Commissioner Koss will inform ministers about this today. Of course, Ukraine's prosperity is very much interlinked with Europe because they are geographically in Europe. So clearly, we we have a role there.
High Representative, yesterday Georgian regime announced much more restrictive laws against the NGOs, journalists, media, also political actors. In this situation, how can you support Georgian people, as media and civil society? Because this law will be adopted in nearest days.
Yes, I expect some of the ministers also to raise this issue, and what we have done before, as we are supporters of human rights and fundamental freedoms. Also, press freedom is one of those. So we definitely expect that we will make steps towards those who are conducting this. Thank you very much, and we will have a press conference afterwards.